Just devastated, and I just want everybody to know that he was a good person. He wasn't involved in no foul stuff. He wasn't disliked. He was a humble dude, a good dude. He connected dots for people. He helped a lot of people.
The man you just heard was standing on Green Street in Soho, Manhattan, hours after watching the world he shared with his friend get ripped apart. The friend he was talking about was Javier Osorio Mejia, 31 years old, a father, a businessman, and one of the most well-connected sneaker resellers in New York City. Most people in the sneaker world knew him as upscale crack. He was not a rapper, he was not a gangster. He was a self-made entrepreneur from Bayonne, New Jersey, who'd spent the better part of a decade building a reputation so strong that French Montana called him for kicks, that A-Boogie with the hoodie knew his name, and that the international sneaker community treated him as a fixture in their world. On June 25th, 2024, at approximately 5 in the morning, two men followed Javier from a Queens club into Soho and shot him 3 times.
Travis Scott is beast. I already know these. Shout out to my brothers from Hellstar, Yorkie, Shawnee, Juice, Hellstar on the T.
Get into the accessories.
Hey man, listen, speaks for itself.
I see you got the Ted denim.
Yeah. We went crazy today.
So I know it's like the hundreds of people in this line. What's gonna separate you from them as far as like how you put it together?
Man, listen, I've been doing this shit for so long. It's like it's just something like normal now to me.
Okay, so
you get what I'm saying?
How do you incorporate high-end fashion with your everyday fashion?
It's just expressing how you feel. You get what I'm saying? That's really what it is. Expressing how you feel, being comfortable. I like comfortable shit. So.
What they did next and how they were eventually caught is one of the strangest and most devastating stories to come out of the New York sneaker world. And it starts long before that morning. Javier grew up in Bayonne, a small city across the Hudson from Manhattan that does not make the news very often. He played baseball. After that, he earned a bachelor's degree from William Paterson University and then a master's degree in information technology. He was also a member of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. By every conventional measure, he was on a path to something legitimate and stable. Sneakers were what defined him. He started like many resellers do, chasing limited drops with his friend, R.V. Valderrama, and building trust one transaction at a time. Over 8 years, that hustle turned him into one of the best-known names in the business. He became known as the plug, the person you called when you needed something rare that nobody else could find, at a price that made sense for the level of access he was offering.
When you stepping out, what's the most stand out your outfit? What stand out the most?
I really love sneakers, so
shoes. Okay.
Shoes is big for me.
So what's your favorite sneakers then?
Jordan 1 Fragments, OG.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so what makes your style unique?
Bro, I'm just myself, bro. That's really what it is, bro. I like what I like. Even if it's some cheap shit, I'll throw it on too.
So you from New York, right?
Yes, sir.
So what role y'all think y'all playing fast?
I feel like we're the mecca. We're the mecca of fashion, New York City.
Okay, so do you got any up and coming brands you want to shout that you know that's up and coming?
Yeah, hell yeah. Of course, Hellstar. My brothers from Lost, Stain Bands. That's really what we've been rocking with. Hell yeah, and Pen Crew for sure.
Pen Crew, okay. We're gonna tag all that. I appreciate it.
In November 2022, he opened Vault 134 on Orchard Street in Manhattan's Lower East Side, right at the edge of Soho, in the exact neighborhood that would later become the site of his death. The store was not just a retail space, it was a destination. Rappers came through, athletes came through, collectors who had been chasing particular pairs for years came through because Javier was the person who could actually get them. He had over 50,000 followers on Instagram at the time of his death, and Complex Sneakers noted that his name had traveled far beyond the resale community. The rappers who spent decades chasing rare footwear knew him, and that connection to the hip-hop world was real and deep.
I started off just trying to stack a little bit of money to buy my own personal stuff. You get what I'm saying? Then I'm watching the other older cats. This is when I'm young. I'm in high school at this time. So I'm watching these dudes. I ain't had the money coming up. Like my parents,
right?
We come from the bottom.
Yes.
We all from the bottom. So for me, it was a little hard. I had to stack up whatever I could, hustle, do everything just to get myself my shoes, just to try to stay fly. So
that store, that community, was not just Javier's business. It was his ecosystem. People who moved product through Vault 134 were able to make money because of the access they had built. Younger resellers who were trying to figure out how the game worked had someone to look to. He had recently closed the Orchard Street location and was in the process of planning a new spot, so at the time of his death, he was not in decline. He was in transition, building the next version of something that was already working. He was also, above everything else, a father. His daughter was approximately 2 years old when he was killed. Friends said she was the center of his world, the reason all the work meant something, the person he was building toward. He had just celebrated his birthday a couple of weeks before June 25th. By every account, everything in his life was moving in the right direction. In the early hours of Tuesday, June 25th, 2024, Javier was at a club in Queens.
24 bills. I just won 3,200 in dice right at the block. So
He was with a female companion who was not harmed. At some point between 3 and 4:45 in the morning, 2 men in a rented gray sedan with stolen license plates had positioned themselves outside the same club and were watching him. When he left, they followed. He drove from Queens into Manhattan in his Range Rover, crossing into Soho, the neighborhood of luxury boutiques and designer storefronts that on a normal Tuesday morning would be quiet and completely unremarkable. He parked on Green Street between Grand and Broome at around 5:10 in the morning. He stepped out of the vehicle. What happened in the next 60 seconds was not random and was not impulsive. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg would later describe it plainly. They planned a violent murder. The passenger in the gray sedan, 35-year-old Jaquan Straker, got out and fired 3 shots. 2 struck Javier in the head, 1 in the leg. There was a brief chase, then Straker and the driver, 28-year-old Mark Haygood, threw him to the ground and spent over 40 seconds removing jewelry from his body, including pulling a Rolex from his wrist while he was lying on the pavement.
The victim of this terrible shooting here in Soho at around 5:15 this morning here on Green Street has been identified as 31-year-old Javier Osorio Mejia. He is from Bayonne, New Jersey. He is the father of a 2-year-old baby. And also, as we are learning hour by hour, he is a very, very well-known figure in the sneaker world, connected to athletes, connected to hip-hop artists, connected to other celebrities, A-list celebrities. And so they have been coming out, some of the people have been coming out here mourning their loss. Now, what detectives have told us and what sources have been telling us all day is that the shooter fired at him, and then they made their getaway in a black SUV, but they left his cash, which was all over the sidewalk, as well as a brand new Range Rover behind.
Then they got back in the sedan and drove away. Javier was rushed to Bellevue Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. He was 31 years old. The gray sedan the suspects used had stolen license plates. They left the cash on Javier's person, which was scattered across the sidewalk. They left behind his Range Rover. They left behind his lime green Nikes, which had become something of a trademark for him in a community where what you put on your feet signals who you are. What they took was the jewelry, the Rolex, the chains, the visible markers of success that Javier had worn openly and proudly on his Instagram and in person for years. Jaquan Straker was 35 years old at the time of the shooting, from the Brooklyn and Poughkeepsie area of New York. He was not a first-time offender. He made a desperate decision. He was a parolee. A prior conviction from 2010 for an armed home invasion and burglary in Brooklyn had already established his pattern. He was living under the conditions of parole at the time of the Javier Osorio Mejia shooting, which means he was supposed to be checking in with a parole officer, staying out of trouble, and demonstrating that he could function within the law. Instead, he was in a rented gray sedan at 5 in the morning following a man from Queens into Soho.
the sneaker game was in a different era at that time. So like, out of a release, if I got like 10 shoes, retailing at like $160, depending on what it was, I would probably double or triple my investment.
Okay.
I would probably double or triple my investment. But as a college student, that was amazing for me.
Yeah.
And even comparing it to somebody that has a 9-to-5 job, it's like, that's great. Then I actually started working at a phone store.
Okay.
So to me,
super random.
that was super. Yeah, I started working at a phone store. To me,
Yeah.
I'm like, I could sell sneakers. Phones cost a little more.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like I'm a good salesman. I started thinking about it like that. Like I'm a good salesman. I ended up working at a phone store in Garden State Plaza, like right by my college.
Yeah.
And I ended up being like #1 in like the country.
What?
For selling
Damn.
phones. I was like #1 in the country. But then I was like, after a while, I'm like, I can't do this no more. I didn't like the fact that I had to answer to somebody,
Yeah.
you know? So then it was like, I'm just gonna do shoes full time.
Mark Haygood was 28 years old and from Rochester, New York. He was the driver, the person who positioned the vehicle, who followed Javier's Range Rover across 2 boroughs, and who was allegedly behind the wheel when Streaker got out and fired. Prosecutors would later argue that Haygood was not a passive participant, but an active partner in a plan that had been put together before they ever pulled up to that Queens club. Together, these 2 men had followed a specific person, not a random target, not the first person they saw on the street, across 2 boroughs in the middle of the night, using a vehicle with stolen plates to make themselves harder to trace. That level of preparation does not come from impulse, it comes from calculation. The investigation that followed the shooting moved through the usual channels. Surveillance footage from the club in Queens, street cameras in Soho, physical evidence at the scene, vehicle tracking on the rented sedan, all of that was building a case. But one of the most specific and surprising pieces of evidence that helped identify Jaquan Straker was something he was wearing on his own feet the night of the murder.
It goes down. We live right now.
Oh, y'all live?
We live right now.
Bro, we live. Hell yeah.
But we've been walking all day, dog.
Yeah.
We just came from Katz's.
My feet are starting to bug out now, bro.
Oh shit.
But he came. He's shopping around, bro.
That's good. That's good.
He's not.
This is always a clean hair, bro.
Yeah, I had a lot
Nothing
of
crazy.
FTCs are nice, bro.
Yeah, it's just a clean colorway, bro. Kind of reminds me like a
I love
Homer.
SBs, bro.
Like a Homer.
Like a Homer.
Kind of like a Homer, yeah.
Very small.
Yeah.
Clean, reasonable hair, bro.
Nah, SB got some good stuff coming out though.
I'm doing a lot of reach backs on old SBs, bro. I just picked up a weapon before I walked out the door.
Oh, yeah?
Coming out
Hey.
here. 89.
Brand new? Close?
Close. Close.
89. Yeah, we're at 10 and a half, 11 though. It's
Yeah.
tough size, bro. It's expensive size.
Yeah.
Like before, the smaller sizes were the ones that were expensive, 7 and a half, 8.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Now it's all the bigger sizes.
All the big sizes go.
Investigators were able to identify Straker in part through his distinctive footwear. The sneakers he was wearing that night were captured clearly enough in surveillance footage to become part of the evidence trail that led to his arrest. In a case about a man who built his entire livelihood around sneakers, who was known across the industry for his knowledge of rare pairs, who supplied kicks to some of the most recognizable names in hip-hop, one of the men charged with his murder was identified partly because of the shoes on his feet. That detail carries a weight that is almost impossible to overstate. Straker was arrested on August 24th, approximately 2 months after the shooting. Haygood was charged shortly after. The case moved quickly from arrest to indictment, with both men indicted on September 19, 2024 in the New York State Supreme Court in Manhattan. Straker faced murder in the first degree, murder in the second degree, 3 counts of robbery in the first degree, robbery in the second degree, and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree. Haygood faced murder in the second degree, 3 counts of robbery in the first degree, and related charges. The indictment handed down by DA Alvin Bragg's office was direct about what prosecutors believed happened, a planned, premeditated murder carried out to rob a man of his jewelry while he was on the ground. At arraignment before Judge Michelle Rodney, bail was denied for both defendants. The judge noted that the murder charge was the most serious charge a person could face in the state, and that the weight of what was alleged justified keeping both men in custody. Javier's family members were in that courtroom. They had already sat through the shock of the shooting, the months of investigation, and the wait for arrests, and now they were in a room with the men charged with taking him from them. The family expressed outrage. That is the only word that fits. As of April 2026, both Jaquan Straker and Mark Haygood remain in custody without bail. No trial date has been publicly set, no plea deals have been publicly reported. The case is still working its way through the New York State Supreme Court in Manhattan, and no sentencing has been handed down.
He's a guy who you would see at all the big drops, usually toward the front of the line, or maybe he had already gotten out of there with all the pairs. He was a person who really was hustling at every big sneaker release to try and get his hands on the stuff.
I'm already starting to have
Yo,
I just got me a pair.
Yeah, now that one's
134 Orchard Street, bro. 134 Orchard Street, the vault, 134. Upscale crack, you know how we do.
Sir.
You know how it goes down. We live right now.
Oh, y'all live?
We live right
Live,
now.
bro. We
Live,
live.
hell yeah.
But we've been walking all day, dog.
Yeah.
We just came from Katz's.
My feet are starting to bug out now, bro. Oh shit.
But he came, he's shopping around, bro.
That's good, that's good.
He's not.
This is always a clean pair, bro.
Yeah, I had a lot
Nothing
of
crazy.
FTCs are nice, bro.
Yeah, it's just a clean colorway, bro. Kind of reminds me like a
I love
Homer.
SBs, bro.
Like a Homer.
Like a Homer.
Kind of like a Homer, yeah.
Very small.
Yeah.
Clean, reasonable pair, bro.
Nah, SBs got some good stuff coming out though.
I'm doing a lot of reachbacks on old SBs, bro. I just picked up a weapon before I walked out the
Oh,
door.
yeah?
Coming out
Okay.
here. 89.
Brand new? Close?
Close. Close.
89. Yeah, we're at 10 and a half, 11 though. It's tough size, bro. It's expensive size.
Yeah.
Like before, the smaller sizes were the ones that were expensive, 7 and a half, 8.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Now it's all the bigger sizes.
All the big sizes go.
Like all my non-sneakers.
They go.
Yeah.
When I used to work for
What you think, bro? What you think? Should I pull the trigger? Should I pull the trigger on
Nowhere else at that price.
I don't know. Remember, you thinking about a bunch of other stuff.
I think it's the attitude.
You know. This what I'm thinking.
It's all about
Let's check out those two other things.
DA Bragg's office has been explicit about what the prosecution believes happened, a planned, premeditated murder carried out to rob a man of his jewelry, and the legal process is still determining what accountability looks like for that. When someone like Javier Osorio Mejia is killed, the mainstream news cycle moves on quickly. A day or two of coverage, a brief mention in the crime section, and then the next story. But the sneaker community does not move on the same way, because what Javier represented to that world was not just a person, it was a proof of concept. He came from Bayonne with nothing except hustle and a real feel for the market, started selling out of his car, built relationships one transaction at a time, and eventually opened a brick-and-mortar store in one of the most competitive retail corridors in New York City's Soho. That story matters to every young person in that world who is trying to figure out whether something similar is possible for them.
Got it right now? Don't wear the sneakers. Keep stacking them sneakers up and sell them. Sell while the product is hot. Like before, it used to be a game of, let me hold these sneakers. They're gonna go up this amount of money. The economy is up right now. Like sneakers, if they go up, they're gonna go up $200-300. You get what I'm saying? So my thing is sell while it's hot. Get your profit, move on to the next shoe. And that's really it. And if any younger resellers want to reach out, y'all need some advice, anything, we here, Vault 134, 134 Orchard Street. We buy, sell, trade, so whatever.
The memorial outside Vault 134 on Orchard Street was not a small or quiet thing. People came in the rain. They wore custom tribute shirts. They stood outside the building where his store had been, trying to be near something that felt like him. Rapper Bun B posted publicly that he would miss him. Friends described him as someone who helped people make money through his store, who mentored younger resellers, and who treated his community like an actual community rather than a customer base.
Can't believe it. It's like a nightmare.
That store he owned, Vault 134, we all sold our products out that store. That store brought the whole community money.
Everything he did, man, he built it up from the bottom, man.
Crack was really well known in the New York City sneaker community.
Mejia was a popular high-end sneaker reseller who became a mainstay at sneaker releases across the city. Friends say although his life was tragically cut short, his legacy will live on.
He's a guy who you would see at all the big drops, usually toward the front of the line, or maybe he had already gotten out of there with all the pairs. He was a person who really was hustling at every big sneaker release to try and get his hands on the stuff.
His daughter was 2 years old when he was killed. She will grow up knowing her father through other people's memories, through the footage that exists of him at sneaker lines and behind the counter at Volt 134, through the tributes that filled Instagram and Twitter in the days after June 25th, through the accounts of the community that loved him and is still carrying the loss. That is what the charges in a courtroom indictment cannot capture. It lists counts of murder and robbery. It does not account for a 2-year-old girl. Javier's death forced the sneaker community to confront a hard reality. Visible success can also make someone visible to predators, and Javier's death brought it back to the surface with force. When you are publicly known for having rare things, for wearing expensive jewelry, for moving significant amounts of money through a business that overlaps with hip-hop culture, you are also known to people who see that visibility as an opportunity. The same Instagram presence that built Javier's brand attracted celebrity clients and made his name recognizable across the industry was also a public record of what he carried and wore.
If those things don't come through, that shoe's gonna be here. That shoe's gonna be here.
Yeah, because Friday we coming in anyway, bro. Friday we're going to Peter Luger's.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
So I'll be around. I'll be around for sure.
He came to drop me off a gift.
Nice.
He got me.
Yeah, I'm leaving Friday morning.
I'm gonna show you what he got me.
If you don't stop by, I'm gonna take it with me though to DC.
All
I
right.
can set it out there.
Nothing else, bro. I'm gonna be back. I'll show you something.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
I'll show you something.
I'm not tripping.
Now that's a gift.
I had a DS player of that.
That's what that is.
That's what that is. That's a
He
gift.
gave you that?
I just gave him that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, we had a guy come in with a size 13 collection. He had all the DBs. He posted them, every single DB. He had every pair of the 10. He had every Easy 1 and 2. He had crazy shit.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna ask him, bro. I'm gonna ask him while I'm here. So I had something come across me. I wasn't here 12 hours, bro.
Okay.
This pair came across me. Okay. Where we at? Right here.
The thing that would go
DS 10.5.
He said time to lose the beer stomach. I don't even drink beer, bro.
Dude's asking 62. I got him down to 62. What do you think? DS.
That's the thing. Like,
10.5.
You're not gonna find that DS though.
Yeah, but does it look?
With
It's too good to be true, is what I'm telling him.
Yeah. I would really have to. I gotta see it in person.
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to. Boys talking about, yo, send me a deposit.
Nah.
Are you out of your mind, bro?
So, bro,
Not happening.
You crazy?
Where's he at?
I don't even.
Authorities have been unambiguous. There was no personal grudge, no industry beef, no revenge narrative behind this killing. Streaker and Haygood did not know Javier personally. They were not settling a score or responding to a specific provocation. They identified a target based on his public profile, his jewelry, his presence, the way his success was visible, and they built a plan around taking what he had. That is a different and, in some ways, more chilling kind of violence than something personal, because it means the motive was not about him as a person at all. He was chosen because of what he represented and what he visibly carried. His character, his community work, his role as a father, none of that was factored into anything. He was a target because he was successful and because he showed it.
No, you dog. He's in Staten Island.
Just go. It's right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna take him.
So, because I'm not very schooled on that shit, bro.
Who's the person?
What are you looking for? When you looking at shit
You'll
like
be
this,
able to tell, bro. You'll be able to tell if it's good enough.
Okay.
Who's the person? I probably know them.
I'll be able to tell.
I'll probably know them.
His name's right there.
The story don't match up.
He goes, here, let me
The story to me, it doesn't match up.
his Instagram.
What's his Instagram? I'll find out super quick who he is. Quick.
Clams Kicks, bro.
Oh, he follows some good people. That was my friend Jay. He sells crazy shit like that. Leo. Bro.
That name Leo came up.
Yeah.
That name Leo came up yesterday.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you see some of the
He
shooters.
might be good. I just bought a pair of these. That's funny. I wore them the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he-
62.
I got him down to 60. He started at 7, bro. I got him down to 62.50. I actually started lowballing. I went down to 5. He's like, no, I can't do 5. I got to be somewhere around 6. I was like, well, how about 6? He's like, well,
Nah, you should be good.
65. I was like, oh,
You should be good right here. Yeah, you should be good. I mean, bro, no deposits though.
yeah. I've been telling him, bro. I'm like, look.
Bro, if you don't want to go over there, you can tell them to meet right here, bro. Y'all can do the meetup here.
I'll go over there. You know how I get down. You know how I get down. I'll go over there.
I just told him, I was like,
I just don't want.
I don't want to do that purchase until Friday, bro. Like, just before I'm leaving, bro. I don't want to do that purchase now. Because I may come across
Something else.
shit, bro, that I was trying to have, you know? But,
Yo,
And that's the thing, he probably has been doing what started prices on So I've been playing.
yo, is that the Soulfly Friends and Family?
Yeah, that's so cool.
What size is that?
10 and a half. Is that the number? Is that the number, guys? That's 10 and a half?
Yeah.
So like, when my thing is like, you can see a shoe right here, like this shoe right here.
He don't even got a price on it, bro. He was looking at that too. That's why.
Yeah,
He was
that's a
looking
good
at
one.
that.
Let me take it out. That's a clean pair, bro. He's probably gonna want the low now.
Exclusive access tomorrow. Exclusive access tomorrow for them Royal Reimagined joints. It's a badass shoe, bro.
That's a low
Come
number too,
on,
dog.
bro.
Low number too. Look at that. 90.
90 of 223.
Bro, come on.
Bro, come on, man. That's a badass shoe, bro.
That's sexy, man.
Camera hasn't even caught up yet. That's a badass shoe, bro. Number 90.
That's sexy, bro.
That is a good one, bro. That's a nice shoe, bro.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
I got some pictures of some crazy ones that nobody saw.
this is insane, bro.
That's crazy. For this shit, we went to Khaled's house, bro.
Did you?
Khaled had a party the night before they released, before they got shut down. That's crazy. I'm not remember that shit. I'll show you some other Soulfly shit.
I'm gonna take.
Isn't that his size anyway?
I'm gonna take him to see Joe tomorrow.
Khaled's 10 and a half.
Go back. Khaled deadass had a party. That shit.
Yo, what you want for them? No resells, my size.
I don't know. That's just shit that I probably never sell. I'll sell you a better.
The bank?
Let me know.
Another bank?
Yeah, I got a lot on them.
I'll buy one of those.
Yeah, those are good.
That I would buy.
Those are good.
I got a new studio coming up.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm moving. I'm getting the hell up out of there, bro. My landlord tried to rob me.
What?
My landlord tried to rob me, bro. He put me in court. I thought I was gonna end up homeless. I paid that dude all his rent. He took me to court saying I didn't pay him the rent. But I found the lease because he went with a fake lease. And as I'm packing up my shit, I said, wait a minute, what's this? And it's my lease. And I took it to the judge. The judge said, case dismissed.
That's crazy.
So I'm out. I'm suing him though.
Oh my God.
You're not 18?
2018.
Because you was about to hit your head.
Uh-oh, Mike Swift is getting on it. Mike Swift, you know you got power to do whatever you want.
Javier was not naive about the world he moved in. He had a master's degree. He had a fraternity. He had a legitimate business with a physical storefront in Manhattan. He had a daughter he was building something for. He was not reckless, he was not operating outside the law, and he was still followed from a Queens club to a Soho street at 5 in the morning and shot 3 times. That is the reality of what it can mean to be visibly successful in certain spaces, and it is a reality that the sneaker community has had to sit with since June 25, 2024. As of April 2026, both defendants remain in custody without bail, and the case is still pending in Manhattan. No trial date or plea deal has been publicly announced. What is not pending is Javier's legacy. The people he helped, mentored, and connected already know what he built. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the culture of visible success in the sneaker and streetwear world puts entrepreneurs like Javier at risk? And what does accountability look like when the legal system is still moving years later? Let me know below, and if you want more breakdowns like this one, there is another case on your screen right now that you need to see.